Hello, and welcome into Rocks on the Pond. I am Matt Sapikoff, and it has been a while since we've come together to talk baseball. The Rockies have been playing a bit of a better brand lately, as they were able to get two series wins. So today we're going to be going over those series wins against the Giants and Angels, and then giving some love to the guys who've been standing out for us. Talk a little bit of the Brewers series, and then if we have the time, we'll touch up on a few other things going on around the league. So without further ado, let's go. Let's turn the clock back all the way back to San Francisco. Before we do, I just want to say I hope you guys have been doing great. It's been a minute. I've missed you. But anyway, going back to the San Francisco series, the Rockies took two out of the three games. Uh, the first game, a crazy comeback in the ninth, and then the next two games, both teams kind of blew each other out, uh, one more so than the other. Either way, we were able to win the series. On the first game on the 29th on Friday, like I said, insane ninth inning comeback. Michael Lorenzen had another bad start for us, giving up three and under 4 innings of work. Actually, not bad for him, unfortunately. But like I said, the Rocks put up fight. They didn't go quietly. They put up 5 runs in the last frame, thanks to a Hunter Goodman game-tying 3-run home run. And then Ezekiel Tovar followed that up with his second home run of the game. This time a 2-run shot for the walk-off. We won that one 8-6, and he needed that one. It was his first multi-home run game in a long time, and it was only his fourth on the year. So if he could get his OPS up to anything close to where it's been in the past, it's gonna be great. It's still below 600, so that's bad, but, this was an unreal game, and I wish I could have been there, but it did, in fact, inspire me to go to the next game. Um, Also a very entertaining game. That's, I think, a theme you'll be seeing. These games are high scoring and would be entertaining to watch basically no matter what. The Rockies took this one 8-3, and the offense was patient and consistent throughout the game. They scored in 4 different innings: the first, fourth, fifth, and seventh, which is a really great winning recipe. Um, Adrian Hauser for the Giants started, and the Rocks were able to get his pitch count up really high early. They were drawing walks in the first inning, especially including with bases loaded, and it's just a really great way to be able to get to a bullpen and make a team work a lot harder than they want to. But McCarthy and Karros both hit home runs in this game. And so we were able to secure the series win fast. But in the last game, the Rocks could not complete the sweep as they gave up a few touchdowns and then failed extra points. They lost 19-6 in this one. And Jung Hoo Lee's been going crazy since he got back from the IL. He went 5 for 6 this game. But the Rockies' offense was very formidable this series, and you can say the same for the following series in Anaheim. Also set a season high in errors with 4. A lot of uncharacteristic ones like Karros. He's been great at third, and he had a bad one, and it was ugly all over. In general, though, this series was just ugly and poorly played from both sides. But like I said, it was still entertaining to watch. A lot of crazy moments. Um, we'll get to some really embarrassing moments in a few. But in the eighth inning of this first game, the Rockies put up another 5-run inning like they did against the Giants. And Goodman again had a 3-run home run. So coming off of his bat, he's looking really good right now. Jaden Hill though came in relief for that game, and he's had a few bad outings lately. He gave up 2 in the bottom of the eighth to surrender the lead, but Senza came in, stopped the bleeding in the eighth, and was able to close it out for the Rockies in the ninth. We would go on to win 9-8 as we retook the lead in the ninth. We scraped one across, so no harm there from Hill, but it definitely we almost ruined that one. Uh this was a ridiculous game though because we had no business winning it. I mean, we gave up a grand slam. We had 4 errors, and uh, still being able to come back and win this game is at least showing some fight from this team, which I think is more than what we can say in the past. It's a theme in a few of these games, but not just going down and dying and calling it quits. Game 2 was a pretty dominant win for the Rockies in this Angels series, as Tomoyuki Sagano turned in another good start. He went 5 innings and gave up 2 runs, but honestly, he was just A-okay being aggressive in the zone. I mean, we had an early lead, and he was doing the classic, pitching with a lead thing. don't be afraid to really go after him, and he was. So he gave up some knocks in that fifth inning, but his first four were pretty sharp. And yeah, so they only got 2 runs off of him in his last inning of work, and the Rockies did damage off of a former top prospect from the Orioles in Grayson Rodriguez, which, if you guys remember, was one of the bigger trades over the offseason. Maybe not name wise, but just the fact that the Orioles were trading pitching, but still got Ward out of it. Um, it doesn't look like a great trade for the Angels right now, which is nothing new. But this game too was so embarrassing for the Angels. They had 2 outfield throwing errors, and on a pickoff attempt from Grayson Rodriguez, their first baseman actually overthrew, like throwing it back to Grayson Rodriguez, and he just sent it away. So super embarrassing. But the most embarrassing part of this game was yet to come, as the Angels gave up back-to-back homers to Willie Castro and TJ Rumfield. And that's not the embarrassing part. That happens to everyone. The embarrassing moment came on the latter home run off from Rumfield. And move over, Jose Canseco. We have a new Doinkmeister in baseball. For the second time in his career, can you believe that? The second time, Joe Adele has had a ball hit off the top of his head and turn into a home run. Ah, that's so hard to deal with. Now, I will say I think Jose Canseco's looks a lot worse. He's camped under the ball and he just has a really big steroid head, so it just bumps right off, and it went over the fence, so you see the ball disappear. With Angels Stadium's right field, I don't remember when they changed the ruling. I don't think it's always been the way it is, but if you get it over the yellow line rather than the entire wall, it's a home run, and you can pretty clearly see the ball doink off of Adele's head and go over that line. So pretty funny stuff. The Rockies went on to win that game 8-2, and that secured a second consecutive series win. Not something we've been able to say a lot over the last few years, so that was great to see. They would again fail to sweep the series, however, as Michael Lorenzen took the bump in the final game. The Angels took him out to the woods, if you know what I'm saying. Yet another blowout for him as he would go just 3 1/3 innings, allowing 8 runs on 10 hits, man. Uh, he has just been terrible this year. One of, if not the most disappointing Rockies so far. Um, I think you can definitely argue Tovar or Doyle, considering uh, they've had a lot of good past success, especially like 2 years ago, and you wish they would do more on the offensive end. Um, but I was really hoping he would be able to come in and be our number one, be our ace, if you will. Um, at least Sagano has come in, like I was talking about, and he's been pretty great this year. He allows a lot of home runs, but every single one of them is a solo shot, like actually. So, uh, he's been able to keep things in control and give the Rockies at least a chance to win in his starts. Um, the Angels took that game 11-4. Not great, but still securing a series win against a team that you really hope we can be, considering we're both at the bottom of the barrel here. Um, But in these 2 series, the Giants series and the Angels series, you can see a concentrated effort from the Rockies hitters to be more patient and work deep counts. Now, yeah, we weren't going against the best pitchers in the world, although Jose Soriano has been great this year, and we didn't really do much against him per se. We drew a lot of walks for sure, but over a series, getting up a pitch count and getting pitchers into those high stress innings is just such a good way to help you get a series win later in a series. Uh, if all the guys have been used up by game 3 or you've already gotten looks, it's just that much. It's just that much more can help you really put up some runs and counterbalance some of this bad pitching we might be getting. But after this series, we take it back to beautiful Denver to take on the Brew Crew, who are first in a tough NL Central. NL Central just had a team finally drop below 500 for the first time since like week 1. Uh, Reds on a bad skid. That's hard to see. Uh, Game 1, though, the Rocks had a very frustrating loss for their 14th blown game of the year. I think that's 7th inning or later. It could be 6th, but a lot of blown games for the Rocks. And this one was especially frustrating because we had a chance to get out of it, as I'll get to in a second. We were able to put up some runs thanks to a Goodman home run, his 16th of the year, and then aggressive base running all game. Brandon Sproat was on the bump for the Brew Crew, and I think he might just be one of the worst pitchers in the league at holding runners. Sounded like that from the fans sitting next to us. I was able to go to that game, so extra disappointing. But multiple stolen bases, and I don't know if it's just he doesn't hold them on wrong, like well, he doesn't mix up his looks, or if he's slow to the plate. It's probably both, but it seems like it's a problem. Everyone can run on him, but they were able to see a lot of pitches from the Sproat go. They did a lot of damage off of him. So uh, Brian Feltner had a great outing in this game. He went 6 innings, allowing just 1 run on 1 hit. He was great, and that's why this was so frustrating because in heading into the 8th inning, the Brewers only had that 1 hit. We should have been home free. Of course not. So, Senza comes in, he gets through the 8th, no damage done, but he comes back out for the ninth and he surrenders 4 runs on 4 hits. The most frustrating part comes right here when we had some traffic on and we would have been able to get 2 outs in the inning after Senza had a ground ball come right back to him. And as a PO, I know that those can kind of sneak up on you and it's an unfamiliar throw because you're so used to repeating those same mechanics from your motion. But you got to be ready for that. You got to be practicing this. And Senza threw a ball away that could have been an easy double play ball. He had so much time, which, you know, that's why this Brewers team is so good. We'll get into that at the back end of this series, but uh, you could just feel the energy leave the stadium after that happened. It was really sad, and it didn't seem like anyone had a lot of hope for the Rockies. They end up giving up 4 runs in the ninth and 4 runs in the 10th. So that was really tough to watch. Now, we didn't just roll over and die, like I kind of had mentioned in a little bit before. We fought and we pushed it to extras. We scored 2 in the ninth. So we didn't, give up and we scored another 2 in the 10th. But you're pitching, you got to give us a chance. Giving up 4 runs in an extra frame is not going to it's not going to lead to a win. So really disappointing there. And the bullpen in the month of May in general has just been terrible. And as we've come to June, it's kind of carried over. Um, Game two came next day, and that was unfortunately the Miz day where he faced off against Zach Agnos. And I think we all know how that game would go, and it did go according to the script as the Miz shoved 7 innings, 8 Ks, 4 hits, and a run, and tells Pat Murphy that he's staying in to finish that 7th inning and does the job. Unfortunately. There was a scary play though while the Miz was on the mound. He hit Tyler Freeman right in the head with a 98-mile-an-hour cutter. Uh, I could have been worse, but it's still 98 miles an hour. Still hit him on the helmet. So I was actually really interested in that with the Miz. I wasn't sure if he was just throwing hard sliders or if he was putting some cut on his fastball unintentionally. I didn't know he had a cutter in his mix, but he seemed to be using it a lot. Um, anyway, Freeman seemed to be okay. Uh, Tip of the cap to William Contreras for immediately making sure he was okay, holding Freeman up after that. But he tried to stay in, but no, they were going to replace him. He just got pieced up at 98. It sent his helmet flying. So that tells you how much force was there. We had a chance against the Miz too with the bases loaded in one of the innings and 1 out, and he just got out of it. He just did like weak pop ups and ground balls and strikeouts. I he's just so hard to get hits off of. And I was wondering, my brother asked, how many times do you think the Miz has actually gotten to bases loaded this year? Outside of the Rockies, 2 outs there. 3 other outs he's needed to record with bases loaded. So 5 outs all year with the bases loaded. That's insane. And in those situations, he hasn't allowed a single base runner or run. So breathtaking stuff right there from the Miz. But that just goes to show that it's not exactly as easy as just putting it in play against him. So and now we're gonna go to that last game. It was really ugly. I don't want to spend a lot of time on this because one really long inning, the 6th inning was terrible. More to come after that. It was just a bad game. We got killed, and the Brewers just wear you down. It's part of their brand that's so good is the defense and the pitching. They don't make the mistakes, and if you make them, they pay for it, or you pay for it every single time. Every time we made an error this series, they pounced on it and had big innings because of it. So bad look for us, but also that's just what winning teams do. Frustrating series, but still some entertaining games at least. Now, in the last three series, so the last 9 games or so, the Rockies' offense has actually come to play a bit. It's been pretty alive, and I think there's a few players you can point to be reasons for that. Jake McCarthy, in his last 13 games, 6 multi-hit games, at least 1 RBI in the span of 3 games during this stretch, and he's been one of the hottest hitters in baseball. Now he is cooling off a little bit, but in those first 2 series we've been talking about, he was really able to use his speed to stretch singles into doubles, and he's pushing the pace every time. And if you don't get to a ball fast in the outfield, he's gonna try for it. And it's starting to show in his stat line, his slash line, 283 batting average last time I checked. These are like maybe 24 hours old, but he has an OPS floating around 780, and it was above 800 before this Brewers series. Tough, like I said, tough pitching matchup. It's probably going to come down anytime you face the Brewers, but the average OPS for a center fielder in baseball right now is around 688. So he's well above average right now. And in the NL, he actually is one of the best center fielders in baseball. Leaves a lot to be desired from an arm standpoint. He's not going to be throwing anyone out. It's almost laughable out there, but he cuts balls off very well and covers ground, which is what you want in a center fielder at least. Obviously, Doyle has the amazing arm and the ability to cover ground, so it'd be nice to have him back. Moving on to another guy we really got to talk about more in the national setting. Uh, Guy who's also has an OPS approaching the 800s, TJ Rumfield, your NL Rookie of the Month for the month of May. Give it up for TJ. In the month of May, he slashed 310 batting average, 400 on base, and a 483 slug for the 883 OPS. Now that is elite. He had 4 homers and 12 RBIs, and he had a few pretty good games to start June as well. So made just his first error of his big league career against, yeah, the Angels in that last game, I believe. It was a really hard hit ball, and I understand why it was ruled an error, but he would have had to be a really clean pick. And he's, moving to his right. Yeah, his right. So hard play. But the trade we had for him this year has just seemed like such a win. We almost, you could say, fleeced the Yankees. And, you know, not that he was getting playing time with them this year with Ben Rice doing what he is doing, but TJ Rumfield, we got him for Angel Shavi'i. That is it. And Rumfield has been one of our best players this year. So playing great baseball, hitting home runs off dudes' heads. It's great ball, just how you draw it up. But the guy who's really been, pushing the envelope from the offensive perspective for us, Hunter Goodman, Hunter Greatman. Um, he's been a huge factor. Let's just say it. Leads the team in home runs with 16. And in his last 7 or 8 games, he's one dot in it and has 5 extra base hits. He has been more patient at the plate, drawing a few more walks. Like I said, I was the team overall recently, but uh, he's still super aggressive on those two strike swings. I was kind of wishing that he would tone it back with 2 strikes and try and be able to. He's strong enough to hit a home run without the huge leg kick he has, but he's actually been doing pretty good with 2 strikes lately. So I guess I'm just gonna have to live with that one, especially if he has 16 home runs. I do think he's the early pick for your Rockies All-Star again. One, Rumfield is probably the next closest, or McCarthy. They're just not quite there, especially with the first base position. Way too many good NL first basemen that when you factor in name value and stats, I don't think he's getting the call, but I genuinely think Goodman is the second best catcher in the NL right now behind Drake Baldwin, who is currently on the IL for the Braves. He's I think he has a OPS in the nines right now, but Goodman's been healthy. Will Smith's been struggling, and Goodman's playing better than he has compared to last year at this point. So I do think he deserves to be an all-star, period. It's not one of those Elias Diaz all-stars. So, um, and the last guy from the offensive end that you really got to look at with this team's success has been Troy Johnston. He is second in the MLB in average versus right-handed pitchers behind only Brandon Marsh, who I think has the best batting average in the NL. Uh, he's able to handle those breaking balls and off-speed pitches just so well. If not piecing him up, at least getting a piece of it and keeping an at-bat going. He's probably been our most consistent bat all year. When you look on like MLB.com and you go through the splits, like 7 games, 15 games, and even the 30s, his numbers are not, fluctuating a lot. They're very consistent and they're good. So he's been so good for us. There was a stretch over these last few series. He had 3 straight multi-hit games. So, and a lot of balls that he stung, especially right at like Jung Hoo Lee. He was killing Troy Johnson in that series. So, but the real only pitcher I've already given Sagano his flowers. Ryan Feltner in his return has been money. He's gone 6 innings in both starts, I believe, 1 run and no runs. Uh, he's just a guy who's had tremendous bad luck. Has taken multiple comebackers, one to the head that was really scary, put him down for a long time. So it's really nice to see him back on the field because I've always believed in the stuff. It's good stuff. He's just has to regain confidence sometimes and get back into the flow and be healthy because he can be really good. And that kind of leads into my Rockies wish list for the upcoming month, if you will. Um, Feltner's been back and he looks really good. I'm just praying that Dollander can get back eventually this year and we can have somewhat of a 1-2 punch there. Dollander looked like he was starting to break out, but we're also waiting on, Jimmy Herget was great last year out of the pen. Beck and Doyle are out. Been inconsistent this year, but I still believe in him. But honestly, the biggest piece we're still missing that we really need back is Mickey Moniak. And a big reason why we had a poor May is because of his absence again. Uh, he just gives us so much thump. He has a mid-nines OPS, and this is a team that's missing the slug right now, and he provides. He's had multiple 2 home run games this year, so getting him back would be a lot of help for this lineup right now. I also think that we need to send down Sterling Thompson. I said it with the Dodgers series that he looked overmatched, and he's looked a little better. He's been able to have better quality of at bats and work a few walks, but I'm telling you, we need to bring up Zach Veen. He has been on a tear right now in AAA. And quite frankly, I'm getting ready to see if that 40 pounds he put on is going to make a difference in his career. And his numbers right now in Albuquerque in AAA, he has a 942 OPS, 525 slug, 417 on base, 317 average. And that is 8 Jimmy Jacks. He is tearing it up. I don't see any reason why, especially with the amount of outfield injuries we have, why Sterling Thompson would be the choice over him. So I hope we bring up Dean. He also doesn't have a weird like control issue with the contract stuff. Like he's already made the debut, so I'd feel a lot better with him up. Could provide some pop, and I just know the fans want to see that. Uh, last, I guess it's not a wish list thing, but I was looking over Hunter Goodman's numbers. He only has 30 RBIs, or 30 or 31 RBIs, but he has 16 homers and 11 doubles. Like it's that's a low number for how much pop he's been having lately. And yes, in the Giants and Angels series, he was able to hit 3-run homers, but that sparked great comebacks, and that's because we had guys on in front of him. I think some of his aggression stems from feeling like he has to do everything. He has to provide the spark. So he's always swinging for the fences, but we just need to be able to get guys on in front of him because he's had so many solo shots this year, and uh, 30 RBIs for that many home runs is pretty wild to me, at least. Moving on to a few other things around the league, just some quick topics. Uh, the AL MVP is almost definitely up for grabs after Aaron Judge. It's been announced that he'll be out 4 to 6, maybe even more. So, like 4 weeks to 2 months with a broken rib. Do you guys think that the MVP is going to be like Jordan Alvarez? He's been amazing this year. Or is it Bobby Witts to lose? Are there other dark horses? Another Yankee, perhaps, like Cody Bellinger or Ben Rice? If I had to vote right now, it would be Yordan Alvarez. He leads in two of the three Triple Crown categories and is only 7 points behind in average from first there. So I think his offensive output is unreal. Coupled with the fact that Bobby Witt just went on the shelf right now and the offensive numbers don't compare to Jordan's, I'd give it to Jordan. And I mean, Witt makes it really close with his just jaw-dropping offense and his speed on the base paths, but what Jordan does is unreal. So, but I mentioned the Triple Crown. Do you guys think that Jordan can chase down a Triple Crown this year? I think he can definitely do it in two of the three categories right now, but average will be tough, and it's very early. There's a lot of season to go, so you don't know. I hope he just at least stays healthy so we can see what a full year from him looks like. But I definitely think it's a non-zero chance he can put up a Triple Crown, the first one since Miguel Cabrera. Jacob Degrom, hats off to you, sir. You got your 100th win of your career. One, does this guy make you guys feel sad or sentimental about how his career is gone? Um, I think with him, it's like you would think he would have so many more wins, but if you remember after those World Series years with the Mets, he was, you know, putting up the best numbers that we've seen in a long time, some of the best numbers ever, and he was only walking away with a handful of wins every year. I mean, there was one year where if he had 3 or 4 runs of support each game, he would have had 25 wins. So, he's honestly the guy who broke the mold as far as people caring about wins because he was such an obvious Cy Young pick when he won his back to back, but the wins weren't there. They weren't close to some of these other guys. So, um, do you guys think that DeGrom is going to be a Hall of Famer? I do think he can. Um, I think the one caveat in that is that he'd have the fewest wins. He'd almost definitely have the fewest wins of any Hall of Famer. So, um, baseball's going to have to look at their Hall of Fame for a few like counting stats differently with modern baseball. But I think DeGrom can have a chance. So let me know what you guys think. Um, moving over to the Motor City. Tarek Skubal tossed 5 scoreless innings in his first rehab start, which is just insane because he should not already be feeling this way, feeling good. Um, he's almost ready to be back, I think. And is it too little, too late for the Tigers right now, or can they make the dance if Skubal returns to form and they get offensive contributions? Because if you remember last year, they had the epic meltdown. I think at most they were 14 or 15 and a half games above the Guardians, and they got sharked down or hawked down. So part of me feels like it's not impossible, but um, it's getting late early for the Tigers, in my opinion. And that leads us to the other big question with that is that if they're not on track come trade deadline, is he going to be moved and what teams have the best packages for him? I think there's a lot of teams you can rule out. I think teams like the Phillies, the Yankees, the Mariners are not going to be in on him because, quite frankly, they have enough pitching and they have other holes they'd rather fill. Plus, uh, rental, you don't know if you'll be able to extend him. I would assume he's going to want to test free agency. Um, Unfortunately, I do think the Dodgers have one of the better trade packages possible for Tarek Skubal, considering they have young pitchers like Robleski or a Sheehan, plus a great farm system they can pluck from to make a trade like that happen. I really hope it doesn't, but I think the price is going to be high for him. And I don't know how many teams are going to have what they want if the Tigers decide that they have to trade him. So but I think that's going to be all for me today. Let me know what you guys are feeling regarding the Rockies, maybe some of those questions I threw out about DeGrom and the AL MVP. And then let me know what you're thinking about your team. Be sure to check out my socials and be on the lookout for more of that Daily Rocks content. And I will see you guys next time.